Hello everyone, my name is Jim Chester, and this is my story about how chiropractic saved my spine. I am not a chiropractor, but I believe in chiropractic 100%. I was born in Iowa City, Iowa, and raised in Davenport. Davenport is where chiropractic started, and this is my story that I'm sharing with you about how chiropractic came into my life and changed it forever. Chiropractic came into my life 20 years ago. I was injured playing high school football, and my athletic trainer suggested that I go to check out Palmer College. When I went over to Palmer College, they did a physical on my shoulder, and from that day forward, my life changed forever by being a chiropractic patient. I always knew that I performed better as an athlete when I was well adjusted. I always knew that I slept better when I was adjusted. I always knew that I was just a much healthier athlete and person when I was well adjusted. They didn't only give me the advice on how to take care of my health through my spine, but they taught me about exercise. They taught me about diet. They taught me about the principles of living a healthy lifestyle, a chiropractic lifestyle. And that's what I hope to share with you throughout this film, is what a chiropractic lifestyle is and how it can help aid you with your healthcare needs. The reason we're making this film is because I know the most qualified doctors in the world are chiropractors, in my opinion, and from what I've found as being somebody in the healthcare system. I trust chiropractors with my health and my family's health. When it comes to you making that personal decision for who to trust for your healthcare needs, please trust the doctor that's the least invasive first, and then walks you up the ladder to the most invasive. Not the exact opposite of taking the most invasive approach and then, if that doesn't work, then maybe try the chiropractor. So with this film, I hope to switch that trend from underserving the community to giving the community and to the American population what they need through a healthcare system that they can trust. Chiropractic is for everyone. Chiropractic is affordable, and chiropractic can save your life and your spine as it has for me. So now that you know how chiropractic has helped save my spine, I want to let you know a little bit about the history and how chiropractic can also help save your spine.
Dee Palmer, who was the founder of chiropractic, delivering a chiropractic adjustment to Harvey Lillard, who was working with him. Harvey had recounted that in the earlier days he had become deaf and he had basically given up on there being any sort of solution for this. Dee convinced Harvey that he felt like this might be due to some sort of issue that was in his spine. Dee was a magnetic healer, and he had knowledge of anatomy and the way that the body worked.
He said to him one night, to Harvey Lillard, Harvey, I noticed that you've got some difficulty with hearing, and this somehow managed to communicate, and it was communicated that there was something wrong with the spine. So Dee said, would you mind if I just kind of whacked on your spine in a very deliberate fashion and see if we can maybe help you? And he did, and sure enough what happened is that Harvey regained his hearing. And so they had thought perhaps that they had found a cure for hearing loss, which in fact they hadn't. What they were able to do is restore proper nerve flow to his body and allow him to hear.
Now, people used to travel to Davenport, Iowa. Get this. They would travel on trains. They would travel on horseback, on wagons. They would go for hours and days and weeks. They would check into a hotel for months on end. They would go to this clinic called the B.J. Palmer Clinic. They would get checked. They would get adjusted regularly when needed, and they would stay there for a month until they were clear. After they were clear, they would then go back to their state of origin, where they lived, and they would find a chiropractor to check them and adjust them when necessary when they were not clear, and keep them in a state of clarity.
Chiropractic to me is not my job, it's not a title, it's my life. It's who I am as a human being. It's my life's mission, it's my life's work. The essence of what we're doing, every chiropractor around the planet, the essence of what he or she is doing in their offices is to liberate human potential, to make sure that humanity can function at its very best.
Chiropractic started as a profession that found an effect. It did something, and it had a positive impact, and it was left then having to explain the basis of that effect.
Every cell, every organ in your body is connected to your central nervous system.
Your brain controls every part of your body. It tells your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, your muscles to move. Everything that goes on in your body every second is controlled by your brain. And when the communication system from your brain to your body is being interrupted, then your body's not going to work as good as it could.
What happens is the brain is sending signals at about 170 miles an hour. That's how fast the body's sending signals. And as they send signals, life force, the intelligence sending signals through here, can you see the atlas vertebrae as the signals are being sent? Everything's nice and normal, but when that atlas subluxates, when that vertebrae misaligns, there's a kink right there at the brainstem. And that kink is what's going to alter signals either from the nerves here or all the way down the entire spinal cord.
Well, the chiropractor just pushed on my back, and strangely enough, the high blood pressure has diminished. It's not as bad now. And somebody else says, gee, that's really strange, because I went to the chiropractor because I had low blood pressure. And what the chiropractor did to me was push on my back, and the blood pressure went up to where it belongs. And somebody else said, well, I came because I had menstrual cramps, and that was helped. And somebody else said, well, I had arthritis, and I'm not sure if it's any better, but at least it's not getting any worse. And somebody else said, this recovered and that recovered. And you learn that chiropractic does a whole lot more than backaches.
So every human being needs to have their spine checked for vertebral subluxation.
Subluxation, that's a pretty big word. So what exactly does that mean?
Subluxation is sub, meaning less, lux actually means light, and ation is expression, so it's less light expression.
The subluxation affects body chemistry, specifically in the hypothalamus. It distorts our perception of reality and affects our emotions. Our emotions become our mood, and our mood becomes our personality.
When that vertebrae kinks and slides out of position, it'll distort. See how if the head pulls out of position, the head leans, and it's kinking one side of the brainstem or spinal cord, and it's altering the signals from the brain to the body or from the body to the brain.
Every level of human performance is controlled by chemistry. The chemistry imbalance is the result of glands producing the right chemicals because they're harmonized by the nerve system. The nerves, in turn, are protected by bone. Until vertebral subluxation. What's that? Vertebral subluxation means the bone has slipped from its proper positioning. Now, instead of protecting the nerves, it's actually irritating the nerves. Vertebral subluxation, this deadly killer, this destroyer of happiness, does not have symptoms. Sitting here right now, you don't know if you have a subluxation. I'm a chiropractor and I've been one for a long time. I don't know if I have a subluxation.
I believe that the power of the adjustment is really, really, really about giving people moments of freedom. Freedom from whether could be pain, whether it could be freedom of interference in their nerve system, like we talked about the mobility of the spinal joints, freedom in that mobility.
The spine has a few important elements. One, it controls function of the body. It controls your range of emotion and depth of emotion. It controls your sense of self, who you believe you are, because every attitude you have, every self-sense is associated with certain muscular patterns mediated through the spine.
For me, chiropractic works because the best way I like to describe it is that everything we do, everything we taste, touch, smell, think, do in our lives is all integrated through our nervous system. And so what happens is when that really works, that's a magical thing. If something is out of alignment, out of position, then that's actually changing our lives. So how we live our life, how we do everything is the role that chiropractic plays. So that's why, for me, chiropractic is so important, because chiropractic is not just about an ache, a pain, something again that you're trying to stop or prevent or get someone over. It's actually about how you live your life.
Almost every aspect of life has been enhanced by chiropractic care. I've seen it, I've watched it, I've watched patients' lives change. I've seen testimonials of people. I've seen them refer people to the office because of those particular situations. They have come in sometimes because of maybe a soreness or a tightness or maybe the reasons, but they've come out of there with an enhancement of all areas of their life. So it'd be impossible to convince me that chiropractic care can't make a difference in your life and also possibly give you more potential than you even know right now is possible.
Now, I'm a chiropractor, not a medical doctor. I'm not anything but a chiropractor. My whole purpose, darlings, is to be able to find a bone in your spine that's out of alignment, pressing on the brain stem, shutting life off from the brain into the body. And when that happens, this body cannot function normally, and it builds itself sick. And as it's exchanging stuff, 2.5 million cells per minute, it's building sick cells instead of normal cells. Which do you want? What would you like? What would you like for your children?
One analogy I use is this light box here, and the analogy is that, you know, we are the light bulb, and now the light bulb is on, right? And it's shining very nicely. Here's the thing, though, is if we would turn this light switch to experience what life would be with chiropractic, we could find that the light could actually get quite a bit brighter, and we could actually express more life. And if we move away from chiropractic, we find that over time, slowly our light gets dimmer. And if we come back to chiropractic, we get back to it being brighter. I see this time and time again with patients. They'll tell me, man, I love getting adjusted. I feel so much better when I'm getting adjusted. Why did I stop coming to see you, doc? And well, I don't know.
Now that you know a little bit about the history and the benefits of chiropractic care, who exactly is chiropractic for?
Chiropractic is for anybody who has a spine and a nervous system. You know, it's similar to a question is, who is dentistry for? We all understand the importance of dental hygiene. We all have teeth. What people don't understand is the importance of spinal and neurological hygiene.
It's like if you've never brushed your teeth and you're 30 years old, what are your teeth going to look like? And I think people don't understand, if they've never taken care of their spine in 30 years, what do you think it's going to look like? The abuse that we give to our bodies over our lifetime is unheard of. We just play it off as that's normal, and yet we don't really know what normal is.
Everybody goes through stresses in their life, and there's 3 types of stresses in the world: physical, chemical, and emotional. And anybody that can tell me that they can go a week without stress in their life, I want to know how they're doing it, and then we'll write a book.
In 30 years of practice, I can tell you that if you get 2 out of those 3 in order, the third one always comes around. So if you have someone who's physically out of balance and someone who's chemically out of balance, more than likely they're emotionally out of balance. If you have someone who's emotionally out of balance and chemically out of balance, they're going to be physically out of balance. So if you can begin to influence 2 out of those 3 things, you create more homeostasis and you create lasting health.
Your body's innate intelligence, its wisdom, will organize around the thoughts that you think, the choices that you make, and the lifestyle that you live. If you want to be healthy and be able to adapt to all of the stress in your environment, you must make the health of your spine and nervous system your top priority.
One of the questions we often ask people in our practice, we ask everybody in our practice, and it's part of our ongoing assessment of people, is we'll say, if you didn't know how old you were, how old do you feel? And I think it's a really big question for people to contemplate, because often people have just accepted this kind of gradual decline in how they feel, how they function, and chiropractic often offers an ability for people to get rid of those nagging things and have their body function at a better level, and all of a sudden feel younger. And we'll often have people come into the practice and go, wow, you know, I've only been coming here for 6 weeks and I'm 20 years younger in terms of how they feel. Now, obviously that's not everybody, but that's a really common experience that people have.
Is it possible that when you get adjusted, food tastes better? Of course, because the taste buds are controlled chemically. I was talking with a dentist who tells me that the chemical content of the saliva is what determines the rate of cavities.
Our market is literally 7 billion people on the planet. There are not enough chiropractors to serve those people. The challenge that we have is, for so many years, chiropractors have not really told the chiropractic story. They have not really told their practice members what chiropractic is about, and they've used maybe what the cultural authority would like to pinhole us in, and that is back pain or neck pain, but that is so far from what chiropractic really is about. Chiropractic is about expressing your life through your nervous system optimally.
There's been so many studies that have come out of how chiropractic helps with things like ear infections for kids, sinus infections, asthma, allergies, and there's so much more to it than most people think there is.
Chiropractic is a service-oriented profession.
Our whole purpose is to serve people. Our purpose is to take care of people.
Chiropractic made a difference not only in people who had problems with their spine, but in many areas of life. I was blessed to see people that were unable to get pregnant for the first time in their lives, able to have babies. I watched people that had headaches for many, many years resolve those headaches because of chiropractic. I watched people who were unable to function and go to work and provide for their family. I watched them, when they got chiropractic care, return to work and produce and feel alive again. I watched people, I actually had a boy who was in a coma for 3.5 years, in my hand come out of a coma and return to function again and eventually finish school.
Some people will respond to a chiropractic adjustment and you'll free up their upper cervical spine and their Tourette's syndrome will go away. In 30 years of practice, I've seen that.
We need to educate the people as to what chiropractic is and the basis of chiropractic. How it works, why we do what we do, and why we don't do some of the things we don't do. And to have people understand what you do and why you do it, from where it comes, and what the potential is of being adjusted, what the potential is of going to the chiropractor.
It's been proven that children who get regular chiropractic care are better in sports, they're better in school, they have more alignment in their spine, they have better posture, they're able to rebound from injuries a lot faster, they're able to focus better. I have children that ask their parents to come in and get adjusted by me. I have children who ask their parents, when are we going to go to the chiropractor next because I need an adjustment. That is because the child is more in tune with their body. The child understands what their body needs, and chiropractic gives them that.
Chiropractic during pregnancy must not be viewed as a novelty or even as a luxury. Chiropractic during pregnancy is essential and should be at the top of every healthy pregnancy to-do list, right alongside proper nutrition, daily exercise, reduction of stress, and adequate and restful sleep. Maintaining a woman's spine and pelvis in proper alignment during her pregnancy allows for the normal transmission of mental impulses from her brain down through her spinal cord and out through her nerves to every cell, tissue, organ, and system in her body. And that includes to her uterus and her developing baby. When a woman's spine and nervous system are functioning properly during her pregnancy, it allows for the baby to receive everything that that baby needs to thrive, not just to survive, but to grow and develop and thrive at optimum levels, so that that baby can experience the greatest level of health both in the womb and after the birth process. Research has proven that a woman under chiropractic care during her pregnancy can experience a 25% reduction in her labor time. And during successive pregnancies, women can expect to experience up to a 40% reduction in their labor. Additional studies have shown that women under chiropractic care will have a 50% reduction in their need for pain medications. Now, I say need in quotation marks because actually it is a perceived need. Women don't actually need pain medications during pregnancy or during labor or during the birth process. Women have been misled for many years to believe that labor is a painful experience and birth should be a medical procedure performed by a team of surgeons. And it's just not true. A woman's body is strong, powerful, and capable of having a natural birth without any interventions, with no drugs, no surgery, no episiotomy, no Pitocin, no epidural. A woman is powerful and capable of giving birth naturally.
Hey, this is Dr. Jason, and I have the privilege and the honor of checking this beautiful baby, brand new. Today's her first day of life for subluxation, so we're going to check her right now. And I can feel her atlas, her C1 vertebrae is out of alignment, and we're going to give her an adjustment right now. Look at that, right there.
Not the emergency room, no, it's like right in front of the entrance. Right, where we're talking about. I don't know. No, you didn't. Oh, okay.
That's it. Her first adjustment.
Mm-hmm. Wow. If anything, just if you like.
All right, hey Jim, good to see you. I know we've talked a little bit about coming under care here at Chiropractic Denver, so welcome. I'm going to go over with you the same thing I go over everybody. Chiropractic, now this sounds really big, and it is, but chiropractic is keeping the brain communicating with all of those cells, and all of those cells communicating with the brain with little interference. The first thing that our body builds is a bump on the top, which is our brain, and the spinal cord down below that. From all life comes from the brain down, the spinal cord, and from the inside of the body out. So all life comes from brain, spinal cord, over the nerves to every single cell in the body. Now I make you the same promise that I make everybody, that I'm going to put 100% of my focus based on function. I'm not ignoring what you're feeling, I'm not ignoring the pain that you're dealing with, but I know with enough time and enough repetition, if we're functioning at close to 100% of your capacity. So when I talk to you about being under care in my office, I talk about lifetime care. Well adjusted, my friend.
Thank you.
Absolutely welcome.
I've been under chiropractic care for 20 years, and I'm a zealot for the profession, and I believe in the method behind chiropractic care, so I was not nervous at all because I know what to expect when I go see a chiropractor. But the reason that we're making this film is so that everyone watching it feels okay going to see their local neighborhood chiropractor for the quality of care that they provide. I know that our healthcare model is broken the way that it's established today. If anybody wants to admit that or not, we all know somebody that's suffering from poor health. I look at chiropractic as a solution for people that have poor health. And even if you have great health, I see it as a solution for you to stay in great health. So from my knowledge of chiropractic, I know that if we have maintenance to the spine, then we are going to be long-term healthier people. If we have subluxation and misalignment of the spinal joints, then we are long-term going to be less healthy people. The reason I'm going under chiropractic care with Dr. Patrick is I want to have everyone know that chiropractic is safe and effective. Getting checked by a doctor of chiropractic will give you the best ability to tackle life the way you see it. When you have a routine in your life, I know from experience that if we aren't functioning the best that we can, that routine gets diminished. I know everybody in this world wants to have better time because that's their greatest asset. So if they're feeling good and feeling better to do the things that they enjoy or just to go to work, then we're creating a better society of workers and people that are going to be producing to make a better life for them and their families.
We're gonna reevaluate things in 4 to 6 weeks, and then we'll reevaluate them again in 2 months. And then I want to see you once a week for the rest of your life. Sound fair?
So this is your first time to a chiropractor?
Yeah.
Are you nervous?
Not really. I'm just looking forward to getting some relief. I don't know. You sound to me like you know what you're talking about and stuff, and it sounds like that you're going to be able to do something for me. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Do you have any previous knowledge of spinal health before coming to the chiropractic clinic?
No. I never went to the doctor much. Outside of the physical exam when I went in service, and when I come out, which they didn't give you much, and I come back in Vietnam, they didn't give you much physical. And getting set up the VA, and then I had that episode of COPD. That's the first time I've been in the hospital. That put me in there. I never stayed overnight then. So I've never had much going on. Medical, I've never had too many issues. I'm a veteran. I've been trying to get where I can get some help at the VA as far as chiropractors. My understanding is that they have a set number of treatments you can have. And it's very complicated, I've found, to try to get any kind of anything from them and get them to work on it here.
What's your perception of chiropractic?
I think if it's a good thing and they can do things for people that you don't have back surgery, that's great. I mean, because my wife, she's had back surgery, and I think she's had some issues that's worse shape now than she had before she, had the surgery and stuff. So I think if they can prevent any kind of back surgery, go for it. I mean, try it anyhow, So you don't know what the outcome is. Do you try it and see? So,
what do you hope to accomplish today?
I hope I can walk enough and lose a little bit of this weight I put on since I quit smoking, which I'm not big, but I still want to lose what I've got on since I quit smoking, and I can spend time with my grandkids, and I enjoy playing with them. I'm still a kid at heart too. I like to play with my grandkids.
So Lara, tell us why you're here today.
So I'm here today to get my back looked at. So I heard about this doctor from a friend of mine and had an incident where I put my back out, and he was open to seeing me in an emergency, like last minute situation, which is why I'm excited to be here. I'm thrilled to be here. Nervous doesn't come across, why would I be nervous? There's no, I just know that I'm going in the right direction and my back's going to be better from this process. So I'm not nervous, but excited.
Do you have any previous knowledge of your spinal health before coming in today?
Yes, I have been blessed with a scoliosis. So it means my spine is a little bit curved, and I've had to take care of it over the course of my life. And with that, I've done yoga, and I've seen other chiropractors, and I've had to take care of my back to take care of my health.
What's your perception of chiropractic?
My perception of chiropractic is like yoga, it's a practice. So I've decided to work with a chiropractor for this injury because I've tried modalities like physiotherapy, like acupuncture, like massage, and chiro in the past. And right now in acute injury, my first mode of treatment is chiropractic because I know that I'll get the most dramatic results. Sure, I could go for a massage, sure, I could do these other things, but I need immediate care, immediate relief, and long-term care. So my choice is chiropractor.
I've had multiple surgeries. One of the earliest was back in the mid-'80s, and I had 2-level fusion in my neck. And I've had nothing but problems with it since. And every time anybody touches my neck, I have problems with it. So I was really nervous about coming in and having chiropractic care done with my neck. I was a chronic migraine sufferer, and I have been a migraine sufferer really since my early 20s. When I say chronic, I'm saying anywhere from maybe once a week, sometimes 3 times a week, and this is ongoing. I mentioned the neck surgeries. I had 2 levels that were fused back in the mid-'80s, and I think that's what started a lot of my problems. I think it probably led to some carpal tunnel problems that I had, and I had to have reversed both of my arms, as well as with the elbows. So that was with the upper body. And then in '09, I had back surgery, and that was pretty major. I had a trapped nerve, I had bulging discs, I had all kinds of complications in the back to where I got to where I couldn't even walk, and I had surgery at that point. And I've been dealing with the surgical problems and what that means afterwards since, and the pain that surgery has brought about. By the time I made it to Dr. D here, I was able to walk all right, but I wasn't doing any walking, anything at all other than to go grocery shopping. So forget about going for walks, forget about hiking.
Good morning, Mary. How are we doing today? Good, thank you. Come on back. Let's get you adjusted. So we're going to come up here with the upper cervical technique. for Mary with everything that's happened for Mary. We want to be very specific and very gentle. We're doing some pre and post checks to see if we can positively influence Mary's physiology to restore some biomechanical alignment so she can get back to healing. She's going to be the one that heals herself. Can I have you turn over your tummy, Mary? And give me a deep breath in and let that out. So once again, we're just very gentle here because we know Mary's had numerous surgeries. They've changed a lot of the structure and physiology on the inside. So we want to be very gentle. That's a lot better than what it's been, huh?
I guess one of the most important points that I could make about chiropractic care in regard to my own health is that I only wish I would have found a good chiropractor early, really early in life, and avoided so many of my surgeries and so much of the pain and suffering that I've gone through unnecessarily. I think that health can be found in much better ways and much easier ways, and I can't think of a better way than chiropractic care at this point. It isn't going to be immediate, and having said that, I've taken a long time to get to where I am with my body and the problems that I have with it. So even what I've already been able to accomplish with Dr. D in the short time, I'm really pleased with. I also know that as intensive and as often as I'm visiting right now, I know that there will be fewer visits in the future, but I know this is a long-term goal and maintenance that I'm going to have to do in order to maintain good health. I only have a positive response about chiropractic care. I think that you have to find someone that you're comfortable with, that the philosophy is in line with what you feel is important, and then the trust comes.
Although chiropractic care may seem to be the perfect form of healthcare, it isn't without its struggles.
It's interesting if you read some of the books that were written specifically by BJ way back in the early 1900s, you'll see that he recognized that there would be trouble in the profession. And so understanding that there might be trouble, he was really prophetic in his writings, and if we go back and study what he had written, we will see that the things that he talked about back in the 1920s are happening today.
It all dates back to when we were getting into wars and the medical doctors were taken off to war. Like, for instance, osteopaths at one time were not considered real doctors. So when the wars came along, they didn't take the osteopaths into the service, they just took the medical doctors, and the osteopaths were left behind. Then the medical doctors come back from service and they find out all their patients are now under the care of the osteopaths, so then they changed the osteopath schooling and allowed the osteopaths to do drugs and surgery, so now they're all doing drugs and surgery. You have a lot of practitioners out there that had people on chronic medications and injections, and if they're under good chiropractic care and their bodies are getting healthier and their bodies are working the way they were designed to work, and they're not going in for all the drugs and surgery like they used to, well then the medical doctors are getting upset at that and they're telling them, you shouldn't go to them. Because I have patients that come in all the time that says, you know, my medical doctor says that I shouldn't be coming to you. And I said, well, how do you feel about that? And they go, well, I'm not going to listen to them. And I said, then why do you listen to the other stuff they tell you?
I went to 2 years worth of medical care and specialists, taking multiple drugs, inhalers, all kinds of drugs and shots of adrenaline. And they were taking me to the hospital and putting me in an oxygen tent, shooting me up full of epinephrine. So finally my mother took me to a chiropractor who adjusted me, and within 3 months' time, no more asthma, no more allergies, no more medication, no more shots. And that's why I decided to become a chiropractor and not a medical doctor, because they spend most of their education in pharmaceuticals and toxicology, and that's what they're used to. You come in with the symptoms, you get this drug. You come in with that symptom, you get that drug. Or if that doesn't work, then there's the more invasive surgical route, which is totally irreversible.
When you go in to a medical doctor for a diagnosis for some kind of
physical imbalance that you have. And if you have something that is really entrenched and going to be very difficult, what I'm discovering is routinely the decisions that are made for your ongoing treatment and what tests are done on you are not necessarily made by medical doctors. They are protocols set up by the MBAs, the boys upstairs. And that's the primary determinant in making medical decisions for courses of treatment for long-term degenerative illnesses.
Where we are today is sort of at a crossroads. You know, we're a profession that probably suffers from a bit of an identity crisis. We have a very strong message and a strong principle that says that health comes from within, that there is an innate intelligence that resides in the body, and that your body has the fundamental ability to heal itself of every disease known to man as long as it's functioning at 100%. Now, to present that message to a public that lives in a world where there's a pill, potion, or lotion for every ill that comes along is a difficult situation. And so now we have begun to somewhat compromise our identity.
What we have to look at is a different way of doing things. If we want to do things, if we want to express differently in our lives, we have to do things differently. And so this healthcare system is failing all around us. We can either do the same thing and expect the same result, or we can make a change. And that's what chiropractic is all about, bringing about that change to release optimal expression on this planet.
As if its struggles with the medical community weren't enough, there was a point in time where chiropractic adjustments were illegal, and many chiropractors were being jailed for their practice.
My dad was a naturopathic doctor, and I grew up with chiropractic. In fact, he went to jail 4 times for natural health care. They arrested him, and the first night under the judge's chamber door, there was a note for the judge that the judge would be dead by morning if they don't let him out of jail. And the clientele was all out there, and they let him out of jail, and they bought a brand new $500 suit, and that was way back then, so that's a big deal. My brother was one of the 5, Dr. Alan Nunru, one of the 5 plaintiffs in the Chester Wilk filed in the Chester Wilk lawsuit that sued the AMA, and we won. We whipped them. And so that was very exciting. There's only 2 alive right now. Chester Wilk is alive, and my brother, Dr. Alan Nunru. So they kind of made history. So we grew up as a family as fighters.
You know, the Wilkes case really was a rallying point where I think that naively and I guess in some ways naively, we never really felt that we could win that case. I think that we really saw ourselves in a David and Goliath situation, which we were, and it was the genius of the lawyers, the commitment of the legal team that really showed the straw man approach that the AMA had. And it was people who, not my contemporary because he was ahead of me, but Louis Sportelli really is one of those people in that era who really took to debunking this theory that chiropractic was inferior, at least in the legal sense or otherwise. The brand of healthcare that's being delivered right now in our system is really not healthcare at all. It's sickness care. It's associated with trying to, you know, push everything back to a disease model.
To be honest, I don't think we know anything about healthcare. And the reason I say that is because healthcare has been something that we have been marketed and commercialized and forced into step by step by step.
We have to take responsibility for ourselves. That's where I come down to it. You know, when I look and I see people, you know, getting upset about the health insurance, if we really took the responsibility to take care of our own health, then we wouldn't even need healthcare as much as we do. And right now, with the pathway that we're going down, and I'm actually speaking about this today, with the food industries and how much sugar and everything is put into our food, it's actually showing that with diabetes, the rate that is going, healthcare will be absolutely obsolete. The money will be gone by year 2030.
Health is not really that hard. You're hardwired to be healthy. It's just most people do exactly the opposite to their bodies that it needs as far as the genes to express the potential to be healthy.
If you got a headache, let's just take aspirin or Advil and get rid of it. There's a reason you have a headache.
There's a reason why you got a high blood pressure problem. It's not because you have a shortage of high blood pressure drugs. There's a reason your kid keeps having recurrent ear infections. It's not because he has a shortage of antibiotics, or all kids that didn't take antibiotics would have ear infections. Why is it your kid has to take a puffer for his asthma? There's reasons why you or your children are sick. Now you got this starting the whole thing. Now we're going to sell you the antibiotics. We're going to sell you the Ritalin. We're going to sell you the albuterol. We're going to sell you whatever creams you do for your eczemas and your allergies and whatever the disease is. And it's just like, and then all those have different side effects that we put more and more drugs on. I mean, I just listened in the seminar, the average American's on 12.9 prescriptions per year. It's just like beyond me, and I've never taken one in my life.
Medications alter your physiology in one way or another, slowing down processes, speeding up processes, chemically altering what goes on. And for some of them, hey, they're life-saving drugs. I get it. If you're born type 1 diabetic and you're not producing insulin, life is going to be a lot better if you get a little insulin in your life and you watch your diet.
Medical doctors are useful in certain situations. If you come in with a brain bullet wound, I'm not going to be able to adjust that away. We need emergency room doctors. We need doctors for things that we can't do as chiropractors. We do not prescribe medication. We do not do surgery. So if in fact a person does need those things, if we're primary health care providers, we can always refer over to the medical doctor to get those things.
But on the other side of the fence, the fact that you have some heart disease because of a crummy lifestyle, medication is really not the solution for that.
There's going to be a huge, problem that we're having because of the fact that people, even when they think they're doing something healthy, they're not. And they're being tricked to buy foods and to eat things that are not healthy for them, and it's absolutely killing them. So unless we can teach them a better way, it's not the healthcare that we need to worry about, it's really about knowledge.
It's pretty obvious that some people on our planet, we have 7 billion people on planet Earth, and it's pretty obvious that some of them their bodies are a prison for them, and also others, their body is a temple. And that actually just comes back down to a belief system or a paradigm. Some people were raised where they were actually taught to believe that they were made to be sick. Well, I was taught to believe we were made to be healthy.
It's been a trend for probably the last 10 years now, and you see it almost to the point where wellness doesn't even have a meaning anymore because of the fact that it's used in so many areas. I mean, you go to the local pharmacy and they talk about the wellness products they have there. Obviously, they're not for getting well. It's just they've capitalized on the name wellness because it has an attraction to it.
I don't think that we've gotten to the point that we have to be allergic to our planet, to be sore and hurt and in pain for whatever reason that you're in pain, whether it's physical pain or emotional pain. Somehow we've gotten to this point in our lives, and I just don't think that we're connected. I think we seek a lot of outside-in sources to treat symptoms, and I don't really think that's the answer.
If we can prevent a lot of this medication use early on by public education, that we're talking about a healthier generation for the future.
We know that 70% of all Americans are on at least one prescription medication. Most of those medicines are for opioids and anxiety and depression. That's 210 million people that are on at least one medication. 45 people a day die from prescription medication, and that's more than heroin and cocaine combined. So 45 people will die today, 45 people will die tomorrow, and 45 people will die the day after, and on and on and on. It's because people may not be on the right medicine. People may be taking medicine for something that they don't need.
I believe medicine is important in emergency situations. When a person needs a painkiller or if a person needs surgery in emergency conditions. But what we're not doing is we're not expressing a person's optimal health and well-being through chiropractic. So consider this. The analogy is the dimmer switch. If we had everybody's power turned on, if we had everybody under chiropractic care on a wellness basis, the chances are they wouldn't need the meds and they wouldn't need the surgery. And of course, a healthy lifestyle, what we call the four-dimensional model of chiropractic, the be fit, eat right, think well, and get adjusted. So if the whole world could get around that concept and basically endorse it and live that lifestyle, we'd have less need for meds and for surgery. However, we've put economics ahead of healthcare, and that's the biggest problem. So there has to be a mindset shift
in the whole population.
And there is not a pill, there is not an injection, there is not a surgery that will remove that obstruction to the nerve system. So if you're interested in health, if you're interested in optimal functioning, then you have to have your spine checked by a chiropractor, period.
I know chiropractic, when insurance started to become more popular in the late 70s and 80s, that was certainly a change in the tide of chiropractic and the focus of it. I do say with insurance, and I think insurance is great, and there's, whether you practice cash or insurance or whatever way you choose to practice, that's not really what defines you as a chiropractor. However, if you're providing a service to somebody, it's really important that you provide the service to the person, that you don't define your service by how it's reimbursed.
Insurance began as part of the farming industry, believe it or not. And farmers, if they had 1 year of a bad crop, 1 year where it didn't rain enough, 1 year where there was an issue with their crops, it could cripple them and their livelihood. So the farming industry created a pool that all farmers in this country would give funds into that could get invested, and that should a farmer, one of their brothers or sisters, go through a crisis, that it would be able to provide them with enough funds so that they wouldn't lose everything. Well, it expanded from that into life insurance. The concept was, if everybody gave a little bit of money, that if the primary breadwinner of that household had a crisis occurred, that they died, that the funds would be available to be able to sustain that family, so the family wouldn't become crippled and become homeless. So the intention of insurance was to deal with crisis. Okay? As time goes on, the insurance companies, who have as the objective to make money, not to pay out claims, but to make money, would want the money so that they could invest it, allow their investments to grow greater than the payouts that they would need to do when people died. So they wanted to have more resources to get money. That's as a smart business ideal. So they said, well, let's do this for healthcare. So the bottom line in all of it is chiropractors have never been really reimbursed for chiropractic care. They've been reimbursed for providing medical care. So within that paradigm, it sort of works. Well, the system is now collapsing because the costs of medical insurance, the cost of health care, so-called health care, disease care, is skyrocketing. Diagnostic procedures are through the roof. Hospitalizations and surgical procedures are crazy. Doctor's visits are insane. I mean, the costs are there. And now you also have a population of people now that view that health insurance, or so-called health insurance, they're entitled to. That whole mindset of entitlement is gone there. Where's responsibility gone?
Here's what your insurance will pay for, which is getting you out of pain. Here's what you need. Now, it's interesting because now with the deductibles being so high and people having to, pull so much money out of their pocket anyways, it's an easier conversation to have because people are catching on to this insurance stuff that it's not good. It's not, it's not giving them much reimbursement. So to say, hey, they're going to pay if you get out of pain. Honestly, in chiropractic, majority of people, it's going to happen within 1 to 6, 1 to 12 visits, which is really cool.
Many chiropractors do things differently. The way I do it is I'm an all-cash practice. That means that I will look at a person's health history, and then I will determine a plan of care, and then they will pay me directly. How does this benefit the patient? Well, they don't have to go to their insurance company to ask permission for the insurance company to cover X, Y, and Z procedure.
But to realize that we are so cost effective and really not even that expensive when you can compare what we offer. And then the process of doing that, it's almost not necessary to have insurance. The reason why they didn't want to pay is because we didn't provide them a necessity for having insurance. We actually help people get well, and it was cost effective.
Chiropractic in and of itself is not expensive. Chiropractic in and of itself has such high value when it's proposed and presented properly that people will pay. I know in my office, for example, I'm what we call a cash practice. We don't accept any insurance money at all. So all the people who come to us are people who understand the value of what we're providing them with, and so they pay out of pocket. And we find that all over the country.
Well, in my office, we have very affordable plans, but the point is that the other day I had a patient come in, and I said, well, I'd like you to return in a couple days. And she said, well, I'm 17 miles away. And I said, okay. I said, where do you get your hair done? She said, well, that's interesting because I drive further to get my hair done than I do to see you. She said, she's 19 miles away. I said, so you're more concerned about your hair or your health care? It opened her eyes, and she said, I'll be here.
There also seems to be a lot of misunderstanding of chiropractors, and that has given them a bad reputation. Let's see if we can shed some light on some of that confusion.
We know that in our society there's a lot of misconceptions about chiropractic. One misconception is that if you start getting adjusted, you have to keep coming. Another misconception is that they may hurt you. Okay. Another misconception is that it's too expensive.
The big problem we had was, we were oppressed for a long time, and to be accepted into that community, into the standard healthcare community in America, we needed to just be focused on pain relief, which chiropractic is really good at, and that's the end of the story. And the problem is that really should be the start of the story, to where a person comes in and lower back pain, headaches, neck pain, leg pain, whatever it is that brings them in the door because now they want some help. And now we can explain to them, hey, there's actually a whole other world over here that you've been hidden from and that people haven't told you, is that we're working with your central nervous system to actually help your body function better. And you actually have a couple different parts of that. One mainly is called your autonomic nervous system that runs all your basic functions of life. And the easy way to tap into how is that working is through a chiropractic adjustment.
Well, I think the negative brand equity is because we have within our profession so many different thought processes and approaches to chiropractic. From the public's perspective, every state has different licensing laws. And so what is chiropractic and what does a chiropractor do? Well, I think there is a correct answer to that, but based on licensure in different states, some chiropractors are adding to that, subtracting from that, differentiating themselves within that, and I think it creates confusion.
It is quite okay to have a new perception on things. And I think that's where I get a lot of patients that come in and they tell me that they haven't had a great experience or they haven't heard great things about a chiropractor, but what they'll tell me is, you're my last ditch. I got no other options. I got to go see the crazy chiropractor. And all of a sudden they start getting adjusted and they're like, why didn't someone tell me about this earlier?
It brings back to what I see in my office every day, and parents bring their children into the office, and I ask them, have they ever been checked before by a chiropractor, or have they ever had a scoliosis check? And they're like, yeah. And I said, what were the results? Well, yeah, they have an abnormal curve of the spine. And I said, well, so then what did they do? And they said, nothing. And I said, I don't get that. That's like saying you have a cavity in your tooth and go, okay.
So this cracking noise, what's that about? Basically, bones come together like this, and there's cartilage over the tops of the bones. Because you can't have a bone on a bone because it would grind and it would be really annoying and painful. So they put cartilage over the areas of the bone. Then there is this, what's called synovial fluid, or this liquid basically, that lubricates that joint. Inside the fluid there is what's called nitrogen gas. It's just a small amount of gas.
When you take a joint to a certain range of motion, gas is released. The CO2 releases from that joint. That makes a popping sound. That's the pop that we hear. So bones are not actually cracking, it's just gas being released from the joints.
I always say there's 3 reactions that are normal to a chiropractic adjustment. One, and the most common, is, wow, I feel great, this is fantastic, The second is, I really didn't feel too much. And the third is, you know what, I'm a little bit sore after that. And all 3 of those are normal reactions. It all depends on where they are in their life and in their physical, mental, and emotional health.
I'll tell you a little secret. Chiropractic always works 100% of the time. You can't get rid of a subluxation without your life potential improving. It always works, but it's absolutely impossible to predict in advance what changes you will see.
People have gotten the persona that a chiropractor may have hurt them, but the truth is it never happens. And if it does, it's a combination between a lack of, 1, that trust, Two, a lack of communication about what could or couldn't happen following the adjustment. And more importantly, it's a miscommunication by the chiropractor to tell the patient what's going to happen.
It's the safest and most effective form of healthcare you can get. It should be always at the first line of defense because you're not going to put toxins in your body. You're not going to have adverse effects like you will from the drugs. And your body's going to function at such a better level. Your mind's going to function at a better level. You're going to enjoy your life.
The difference between medicine and chiropractic is really a paradigm. Within medicine, they look at the body from a mechanistic viewpoint. They think if something's going on with your knee, we're just going to look at your knee.
Part of the problem that we are having in healthcare today is that they have taken our body and they have separated it like it's a machine. So you've got the cardiologist, the heart guy. You've got the pulmonologist, the lung guy. You've got the gastroenterologist, the stomach guy.
Out there in the real world, people take better care of their cars than they do their own body. I mean, we get regular oil changes. We fill up the gas when it gets to a quarter tank. Nobody would wait until the engine blew up to change the oil. So I wonder why we have that same attitude with our bodies, where we feel like, well, I don't have pain, therefore I probably don't need any intervention. Well, when it comes to healthcare, we believe that the body is a self-healing organism, and then there are others who believe that the body is more of a machine, that it requires intervention, tune-ups, pills, potions, lotions, things that we do to it to keep it running at its maximum for the longest period of time. However, fundamentally, in our hearts, we all want to help people. We want to help humanity. So I think the big thing is for the general public to see which idea resonates best with them.
It's not a part, it's not a piece. You can't cure a part or a piece, and you can't shoot a silver bullet as the pharmaceutical industry tries to do and then causes a cataclysm of downstream negatives.
We like to care for the human being. We don't want to care for the part. Within medicine, their primary purpose is the treatment of symptom, sickness, disease, and illness. Chiropractic is about restoring and maximizing health, healing, and human potential.
So we live in a world where everybody works on computers, they have their personal devices, they're on phones all day. And obviously the posture of how we put our bodies, that we look down or we put our head forward when we're sitting at a computer, that all affects our physiology.
So with technology, I love this because they've actually come out with a diagnosis called text neck. Here we are down looking at our phone and we're just wrecking our health because we've put a huge stress on our cervical spine.
People are using phones and pads at a unprecedented rate, and when I'm bent down, I'm taking that curve out of my neck. And while we're supposed to be able to bend down, you're not supposed to stay like that for 30, 40, 50 minutes or more for that length of time. What it'll do, it'll start to take out the curve in your neck.
Technology is affecting our posture directly because of the way that we sit when we're doing it. One of the things that I tell my patients is that there is no such thing as an ergonomic chair. You can spend $1,000 on a chair, but if all you do in the chair is this, then it doesn't matter how much money you spend on a chair.
If you sit on your wallet or you have a wallet in your back pocket, that's not great for your posture and your body. Everybody's been at a table at a restaurant that's kind of uneven and doesn't, really quite sit, so they take a little piece of paper and stick it under there. But imagine that working in the opposite direction, that you actually had an even table that was sitting fine on the ground, and then you took something that was this big, filled with credit cards or whatever you keep in your wallet, and you stick it under the table. What's going to happen to your food on your table?
If you sit down and you have a wallet that's this thick in the right back pocket, then your pelvis is sitting like this. There's a technique in chiropractic that we use blocks to adjust people with. So these people are adjusting themselves in a wrong way. There was a Seinfeld episode that showed that, with George sitting on his wallet like this. And so he took a stack of napkins and put it here. Or what you could do is, like I do in my front pocket, I keep my wallet here.
Welcome back, Jim. Let's go face down here. Good breath, Jim. Let that all out for me.
I've been under chiropractic care for 20 years, And finding you as my chiropractor and getting the adjustments that I've had from you has definitely made an impact on the quality of life that I have and the ability for me to live to my absolute best.
You mentioned that quality of life. Has anything in your life changed since coming under care here?
Well, I've always known that by getting adjusted and having my spine healthy, that I've been able to do things that I like to do, but to do them much more effectively and to do them with much more ease. Because I believe from what I've done the research for now within chiropractic, that the healthier we are, the more we have to express ourselves on a higher level. I think that the education that you give to the patient and myself is very informative. You pack it into a package that makes it accessible to people to understand better. You use great analogies when you give people the information that they get and how they receive it. And you make it a conversation with the patient as opposed to just drilling what this is and this information into that patient. You make it a conversation. You allow people to understand why they're coming to you for the rest of their life. And I think that if anything that I can do with this film is I want people to understand that chiropractic isn't just for the quick fix. Chiropractic is for people to come. Chiropractic is for people to take for the rest of their lives, the care. I went to Palmer College of Chiropractic as a patient. So every 3 months, 2 to 3 months, I'd get a new chiropractor. I was adjusted by the staff there. I come from a group of docs that I get adjusted by regularly throughout the United States. Wherever I go, I have a doc there. So I never go without getting my spine checked and subluxation removed. So when I come here, I feel like I'm being taken care of by a master adjuster.
So where do you feel today?
I have like this, right? It's here. It's all right here again. And then I have a headache.
Okay.
It feels like somebody jabbed something.
The knife right there. See? Okay. Is it not up here? Is okay? Okay. So it's just across the cheeks?
Yeah.
Then? Okay.
Sorry.
And, don't apologize. But this is okay. So it's mostly a lot more of the pains on the.
Sorry.
It's quite alright.
Yeah, it's right. It's through here.
Yeah.
This is secondary, right? So this is my primary
Right, yeah, you don't touch me.
issue.
What was the surgeries? Yeah.
I had 2 surgeries. I had 2 microvascular decompression.
Okay. And then when was the last one?
Like April 10th.
Okay. Wow. So 3-4 months ago?
3-4 months ago.
Okay.
And no
Still
resolution.
nothing.
No, all I received from that was numbness.
Okay. So on day 1 we did a scan.
Yes.
And day 2 today, or the other day, we did a second scan. Today we'll do a third spinal scan.
Yes.
And so I'll collect the baseline reading of your scans and we'll make a correction to your atlas vertebrae. And once I make the correction, there won't be any twisting, popping, or snapping. It'll be quite gentle to you.
You're not going to really touch my face.
I won't touch your face at all. Hour and 27 minutes. You did great. You did great. So it's so hard to gauge in the beginning because we just started, right? This is our first date, right? Right.
Sorry.
Jaw sore?
I feel so much better than I did,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
You know, this
Okay.
is looser,
Okay.
and I don't have that headache.
That was my next question, that stabbing thing.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, even though I'm not a little leery to ask, If you were to touch, what was think positive. I see your face right now. Because we don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes people notice less, or it's the same, or it's more. We just started. We just planted the seed and put dirt over it, and we watered it, and we can't expect fruit right away.
Right.
Bear with me. Good? She's like wincing right now.
You're gonna touch it anyways?
I'm gonna go so soft. Bear with me. I'm just gonna go so soft. Okay? Good. And I just want to, okay? So you feel it more in the top?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. The bottom, we're okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, wow.
Yeah, only a little bit.
Wow. It's pretty aggressive on that one too.
Yeah.
Smile on my
You're
face.
excited.
Yes.
How do you feel since you've started treatment?
I feel better. I mean, my back-wise. Of course, I still have the issue of the hearing and everything, but that's something I don't think is going to go away. In the back, I haven't had any issues with the sciatic nerve part.
Do you feel like your low back pain has improved?
Yeah, and I still have my neck pain too.
Before you began chiropractic, you said you could walk 50 yards max, and that was as far as basically.
If I make it that far without stopping now, but I mean, I push myself even with the pain in my hip. I probably walk further than that, but I mean it's a crucial pain, you know. But now I probably go. I really hadn't tried to see how far I could walk. I know I've walked from my barn to the house, and it's uphill grade too. That's probably 500 yards or something in that neighborhood where it's at now.
Okay. So
you can walk it.
You can make 500 yards without pain. When before you could only go.
Big difference in it. I mean, I'm pleased of how much it's helped me so far.
How has your perception of chiropractic changed since you've started?
Tremendous. It's went from one extreme to the other, really. Because I didn't know that much about what chiropractic was, so I started talking to my son, and he said, you know, I told you he referred me down here, said it always helped him, and it does me too. It's a tremendous amount of difference. And like I said, I think it helps people from having, to me, serious back surgeries or something like that. Now, I understand they probably never think they can fix that, so, but what they can, it's great to me.
How do you feel since you started care?
So I'm really excited to say that I've been feeling great. And a lot of the way I feel has been because I've been sleeping better. I've actually, if you can believe it, I've been digesting better. And just overall, I've had more energy. Usually about 9 o'clock at night, I get pretty exhausted, ready to go to bed. And I've had more energy since starting treatment, which has been great. And just overall, feeling great. My perception has changed in a couple of ways, and where it was before and where it is now. So where it was before is because I have a scoliosis in my back, what would end up happening is I would see someone maybe once a month for care, or more often than not, I would let my back flare up, and then I would do the emergency call and need to get in that day. And that's sort of how I did it. Through this care, I am on a consistent basis of seeing Dr. Suki 3 times a week. And it has, it's less about my back and being in acute pain and more about my overall health. So my perception before was that chiropractic treatment was for my acute pain, for management of my back, period. Where it is now with the consistent treatment is that it's part of my overall health regime, much like I would see a naturopathic doctor or someone to help me with my health care overall. It's part of my practice because I come on a consistent and regular basis. It's the one thing I do just to keep me in line and healthy. So the one thing that I've learned, and it's something that's common and it's said, and I truly understand the meaning of it now, and it's that the body can heal itself if given the opportunity. I would have probably heard that in conversation before and been like, of course it can, this, that. But under this sort of care, it for me, what I've learned is when my body's in alignment, when my central nervous system gets the care it needs, then my body is under the prime conditions like to heal itself. I guess talking specifically to like what happens on the table is the adjustments are very subtle, and even after a treatment itself, energetically you can feel small shifts in your body. And then there's often been times where I've had a treatment and then I've gone home and had like an amazing night's sleep because my body is adjusting and moving and sort of doing its thing, and I can tell. So like it's not an intellectual thing where I'm thinking something's being aligned. It's a physical experience in my body that I'm knowing.
So Mary will have you lay on your back in here. So Mary, which she's expanded on, has quite an extensive medical history, including a bilateral hip replacement, a cervical fusion where they fused multiple vertebrae together in her neck, and then a lower back surgery. So when we look at her x-rays, there's definitely some structural things that we need to be aware of, and definitely some things that we need to work around. And even if I would just hold the heels here, you can just see how her left leg is shorter than her right, if you look right down at the heels there. Okay, I'm going to have you sit up for me. And you could kind of think of, they could act as limitations, and they definitely would present as scary things for a doctor to work with. But when we look at Mary, we definitely see neurologically some other areas that we can affect and not have to use those areas that have been operated on. So if we look at her x-ray, we can see, like if I'm reading the radiology report, it comments on how she has a bilateral hip replacement completely, replaced the head of the femur and the hip socket. And if Mary's moving, that movement has to come from somewhere, so the joints above and below are going to take more wear and tear than what they have had. They talk about how her neck is very straight, especially through the mid to lower cervical spine, which is obviously related to the fusion that she had. But with her having that fusion in the neck or the cervical spine, it really changes on how we're going to approach that. So we started off with an upper cervical technique where we're really focusing on C1, C2, and you can even see on her x-rays the asymmetry or the difference between the right and the left joints between C1 and C2. So it tells me that if we can focus on that area and really help her out, we're going to make a big change in her biomechanics or how her body works. That's going to translate into better neurological function, which for the patient is going to translate into healing and feeling better, which is what we're seeing with Mary.
I have days where I have absolutely no pain whatsoever, and I haven't been pain-free for years. So when those days happen, it's this huge horizon of hope that happens in my life, and those days, they're leading me onward now.
So with the lower back, Mary had a lumbar surgery, so we're just nice and easy. We can still do some work down here, even though that they did operate.
Through the surgeries, and the lack of support that I got, I've learned that there's a lot of things that you need to do to maintain it, to get there, to get the structure correct, and then to maintain it. And that's what I'm working hard on now. And I had no idea before I started chiropractic care that that was even important. But that's key to my health now.
Chiropractic, you know, the cool thing about chiropractic is I believe there's upwards of 500 to 600 different techniques. So there's something for everybody with chiropractic. I can adjust my kids when they're just a few hours old, or we can adjust Mary after she's had bilateral hip replacements, neck surgery, back surgery, all kinds of problems. So it's really cool because that's a neat thing about chiropractic is as long as you got someone that's well versed in different techniques for different people and looking at the body as a whole, we can really make some great changes for a lot of different type of people.
Yeah, since I've started with Dr. D, there's been a whole host of positive changes. I see this as an ongoing thing. Within 6 weeks when I talk with you, I imagine that I'm going to be a lot stronger, a lot better, and I'm not real sure. I see full health coming back. It's not impossible. It's certainly not impossible, and I see that now.
What do your friends and family think about you being under chiropractic care?
They're very skeptical at first, very skeptical. And they think, oh, that's good. I'm glad you're feeling better. And now one of my sisters is saying, well, I've seen so much change in you. I think I better find a good chiropractor in my area. She lives in Portland, Oregon. And she wants to find a good chiropractor. And we celebrated with that. At least I did. I thought that was wonderful.
So now that you can see the importance of being under chiropractic care and getting your spine adjusted regularly, how do we get more people into chiropractic offices?
Well, I think the important thing in getting the public to get it is for chiropractors to remember how they got it. Because we have all of these approaches, these strategies to have the public get it. But I think instead of trying to fix the chiropractor's communication, if the chiropractor would just realize, recognize, remember what their big impact moment was when they got it, and then communicate that to people so that they can get it while the chiropractor is being genuine and authentic, rather than working off a script that he thinks they might understand.
I think the best way that we're going to market this to the mass population is to essentially not be a chiropractor. Now, I want to explain that. Chiropractors generally are very principled and they're passionate, and we all became chiropractors not because we dreamt about it like as a kid. We became chiropractors, we wanted to serve a lot of people and we wanted to help a lot of people. Unfortunately, that actual principle of helping and knowing and understanding the principles of chiropractic is the very reason why we can't relate to the general public. I once had a professor named Dr. Vladimir. Okay? He was a math professor, and this math professor was a genius in the math world. But he was teaching an entry-level math class. It's an 80% fail rate. And why did that happen? It happened because he knew his stuff so good, he was so passionate about what he did, that he didn't have the skill set to translate that into a grassroots level where everyone can grasp it. So essentially, I went to his class looking for 7 times 7. And I got met with fractal theory and quantum mechanics. To get people to understand chiropractic on the broadest sense is we have to scale it down so it's digestible for the average mom and pop. You know, it has to be done as a collective whole, and every practitioner needs to be on the same page in terms of speaking the patient's language, you know? And I think that truly is the reason why this profession, as awesome as it is, because it is by far, I believe, the best healthcare product in the world, that's the reason why we're not able to reach those people, because we haven't united in that message.
I think to make chiropractic for everyone, we have to make it real and put it in terms that people can really understand. Sometimes we think that we have to dumb it down or change the principles of it in order to get people to understand it. But I think chiropractic ultimately comes down to a very simple premise, that there is this intelligence inside of us that's always going to be doing the best for us, that there's this interference which disrupts that ability for us to be our best, and that we as chiropractors help you to be the best that you are by helping to remove this interference.
You may be someone who has been told that they need surgery on their low back or their hip or their neck. You may be someone who is dependent on injections for pain relief or medication like opioids for pain relief. I want you to know that you don't have to suffer anymore. Chiropractic care can help you, and I have helped thousands of people, and chiropractors all over the world have helped thousands of people just like you get better.
We're hearing a lot of speakers recently, chiropractors talking about we need more of a market share, that there's not enough people getting chiropractic care, and that there's a lot of talk about what needs to do to change that. I believe the answer is we need more chiropractors. There's just not enough chiropractors to penetrate the market to create. You know, it's like if I wanted to paint this wall and I didn't have enough paint, I'm not going to cover the wall. No matter what I do to yell at the wall, and no matter what I do to educate the wall, no matter what I do, I'm not going to cover the wall. If you were to survey the general population and just go out there and say, what do you think of when I say the word nervous system to you? What do you think they say? They say things like pain, numbness, paralysis, Christopher Reeves. They think of things that are symptom-oriented, not about health. And when chiropractors are always talking about the nervous system, there's a difficulty in bridging the gap between nervous system and health. It's just a difficulty because that's not what people think. But if you go out and survey the population of people out there and you bring up immune system to them, they all say the same thing. Either something to do with health or something to do with sickness. Nothing to do with pain. So when you talk to people in a language they already understand and say, hey, you know, chiropractic affects your immune system, They immediately get it. Oh, you mean I should bring my kids in for this?
There's a lot of infighting in our profession, and a lot of people are doing it for the wrong reasons. We need to put all that stuff aside, and we need to have grassroots operations going with our patients, because our patients are going to tell 7 people, they're going to tell 7 others, and so on and so on. It's going to come from the people. You know, chiropractors are going to do their part in there, but it's from happy, healthy patients that are living their optimum life that are going to tell, you know, the masses.
So one of the things I like to ask people about health is, you know, again, if you think in terms of anything in our life, you know, would you rather be wealthy or just not poor? So when it comes to our health, would you rather be healthy or just not sick?
We've all heard the expression, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, this is the motto of the nursing home generation. Unfortunately, this generation of beautiful people, they didn't know they were going to live this long, so they didn't know how to take care of themselves, their health, their spine, their nervous system, to ensure an active, healthy, quality life as they age. Our generation, to stay healthy, to raise healthy families, we must redefine broke. Regardless of how you feel, whether you have symptoms or not, when you are out of balance, you're broke. This is why, when you get checked in a chiropractic office, the balance and the health of your spine and nervous system will be evaluated.
We're talking in the United States, there's maybe 100,000 chiropractors, and in the rest of the world, there's way less than that. And so, again, we have 7 billion people on the planet that need chiropractic care. So I see it just growing and growing and growing. The question is, again, can chiropractors actually step up with a high self-esteem and say, you know what, we're crucial to the transformation and evolution of this planet.
I want you to understand that you are privileged to be able to take care of these people. And I want you to understand it's not about money. If you're seeing large numbers of people, money will come to you. It's not about seeing a few people, seeing a few hours that you work and see how much money you can take from each individual. It's not about pocketbook therapy. It's about taking care of the folks. It's about taking care of all the people and doing it with absolute love and passion and desire, and being able to tenderly and gingerly become a part of their family, and they become a part of yours. And it's a miraculous thing that happens. It's a wonderful thing that happens.
To become a chiropractor, it's very similar to become any other healthcare practitioner. You typically do your bachelor's degree, which typically lasts 4 years, usually like pre-med studies, very similar to medical doctors, a foundation in biology, foundation in science, and then from that you apply to a chiropractic college, which is a Doctor of Chiropractic degree, much like a medical degree. And then on top of that, we also get an education which medical doctors don't get, an understanding of wellness care, about nutrition, about how to take care of ourselves and how to be preventative. So it's not only looking at symptom, sickness, and disease, but it's also about how do we look at people that are healthy, get them healthier, and allow them to fully maximize their potential.
2% of the population right now is being served by chiropractors. That's it. You look at other statistics, maybe 3, maybe 4, but it's definitely not the numbers that we want. So I don't know exactly how many chiropractors there are in the world, but I do know that even if we went from a 2% market share in terms of the amount of people that are utilizing, and we went just to a 10%, that's a 5-fold increase. I don't think we have the number of people or number of practitioners to handle that volume.
How are we going to elevate this profession? The same way BJ did it. The same way every chiropractor builds his practice, brick by brick. It's a brick by brick proposition. Today we are not in the age of information anymore. Today we are in the age of too much information. Today we are in the age of this is the survival of the correctly informed.
I would say that this is a time in history where people are beginning to wake up because of information. Question what you see on television. Question what you read in magazines. Search for the truth, because as you begin to really understand really where profits and research mix, where people are fed limitations about themselves and their life, that they need to be dependent on something outside of them. When you begin to realize that you come preloaded with all the biological and neurological machinery for health, and that your body can create balance and order, if you create balance and order for yourself.
I think we have to think of the public and how chiropractic benefits the public. I think we came out with a message that basically said, here are the benefits of chiropractic. Here's how it's going to impact the world. Here's what the research is really showing. Whether you're a limited scope or if you're a subluxation wellness-based practitioner, I think we can all agree that people's health is better under chiropractic care.
There's lots of things that I don't like, we don't like about chiropractic and healthcare and all the things that are in education. At the same time, I have never seen so much energy being put into such a constructive place to move the ideals and the philosophy forward.
The people who expend their energy, who go out and get the information they need, those are the ones who are going to be successful in bringing the chiropractic message to the population.
And I think that we need to really raise our voices and speak for chiropractic. And the only way that that can happen is if we let go of fears, we let go of intimidation, and we really start being compassionate and compassionate about what it is that we believe in, and we speak loudly and proudly about it, and we try and address as many people as possible.
Everyone knows the general way to get health care predominantly is what? Drugs, surgery, etc., etc. That's because that has dominated the healthcare market for so long. But more and more, especially with my own patients and even with my friends and family, that's becoming the second or third choice. The problem is they don't know what that number one choice is, you know, and I think that's where the revolution's stepping in.
And we're lucky in the sense that some of our forefathers didn't have some of the accessibility that we do with social media and all the things that we have available to us to get our message out more to the masses so that we can, you know, tip ourselves beyond that 10% and reach the 90% that really have no idea what we do and how their life would be changed if they were getting adjusted.
I believe the future for chiropractic will take one of two paths. In one path, chiropractic will be seen as a submodality for medicine for the treatment of back and neck pain, and that's it. The other path for chiropractic is we choose our place in the healthcare model. We recognize medicine has its place for trauma and emergency.
If you're not afraid to go against the grain and talk a different talk than everybody else is talking, if you're interested in taking a stand and standing for something, if you're interested in changing the world, even if that world is just your own community, it doesn't have to be the entire planet, then chiropractic is something you should look into. And I think it's been very rewarding. I love the profession, and you know, there's nothing more powerful, I believe, than putting your hands on someone and needing nothing else but your two hands to change their life. And we have that power as a chiropractor.
The power that made the body heals the body.
That's right.
And so we have to give B.J. Palmer that credit.
Yeah, B.J. Palmer did say that when he was promoting chiropractic, and that's really how chiropractic became what it is today.
I think 20 years ago, I used to say to people, well, someday we're going to have to make a choice. Someday we're going to have to make a stand. We're there. We're at that crossroads. Someday is right now. We're either going to become like that or we're going to become like we were, going back to our roots of pure chiropractic.
I don't think that the future holds that people are going to just go run and remove an organ or add a drug in their life. I believe that people are going to want to take command and have self-mastery and watch and experience the power that they have within to bring wellness. Chiropractic is at the forefront of wellness. It's at the forefront of healing. It's at the forefront of natural approaches to life. And I think that that's something that we deserve to have in the world. And I believe that chiropractor has been on that focus since its beginning in 1895, and it's still stabilized and focused on the same cause and the same mission that we have to bring wellness to America and through the world.
Not only did he adjust my back, he gave me a program in order to strengthen my core and help me with my overall fitness.
I brought my family here and we all come. My daughter misses very little school. My husband's, all of our allergies have improved.
I know somebody that has had several back surgeries and it is not doing any chiropractic care, and he is still living in constant pain.
Doctors got to the point they couldn't help me. All the drugs, they had me on 10 different pharmaceutical drugs, which was a nightmare in and of itself. And Dr. Clint worked with me for about 2 hours on his day off.
I had 3 herniated discs in my lumbar, and this was all from motorcycle accidents. But after seeing Clint and getting an MRI, we were able to determine what was going on back there, and Clint was able to help a lot with just the pain relief in general.
It's been awesome. I feel awesome, and I'm going down a path that, you know, it feels good.
I don't know if you've ever experienced that kind of a pain, but sciatic nerve, it just aches you so bad. It's like a toothache in your backside. It's still there. It's just, I don't feel pain now.
Instead of handing a bottle with this pill that fixes one thing while destroying something else, chiropractic is very much about giving you options and helping you know your body better.
Your spine is the center of it all. And it should be adjusted on a regular basis to prevent disease. It just ignites your body, gives you lots of energy. Whenever I leave here, I feel like a teenager again.
Well, you know, I've noticed a lot of people to be very stubborn. And the good way to get them to try chiropractic is ask, why not? Why not try chiropractic? You've tried everything else and it's failed. Chiropractic doesn't fail.
These chiropractors are doctors. They've been trained, they know the human body, and they know what to do, and you need to have trust though. So I would recommend to at least give it a try. Go and get a consult from a chiropractor, see what they can do to help you. If it's for you, that's great. If it's not, that's okay. I mean, might take another route.
Hey Jim, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Hey, we're coming up on about 3 months of care now, what we talked about at the beginning, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about transitioning into some regular, consistent care that has less volume and less frequency. But let's get you checked out today.
Cool.
So let's start on your back. All right, Jim, so we're going to evaluate your neck for subluxation.
I think that my health is improving by every adjustment that I get from the chiropractors. Dr. Patrick's been integral in delivering great adjustments to me to give me the best position to thrive with my human potential and my ability to heal from inside out. The reason that I'm making the documentary is because I want people to understand that chiropractic is safe. I want them to take what they've been told or what they've thought, what dogma they follow as their truth from what they know, but you really know unless you try something. There may be some misconceptions that people have had about what chiropractic is or the safety behind it. I've never known anyone to be injured from chiropractic.
And I think you have noticed over the last 3 months that we are adjusting less and less, certainly less areas, right? Good, we're doing real good. But we do need to adjust right here. So take a deep breath in for me and let it all go, pal. There we go.
I also know that chiropractors are intelligent enough that if they can't take care of a specific case, that they will refer that person out to the proper healthcare professional that can address those health needs. Anybody that's under chiropractic care and gets the big idea behind it, they should share that and bring their friend along or bring their family member along and just let them meet the doctor. If at that point they feel like they can build a relationship with that doctor and trust them for their health needs, then I see that as one angle to get more people under chiropractic care. The next thing is awareness. We need to build more awareness, and that's what this film will do. It will build more awareness for people to understand that chiropractic is safe, it's effective, it's the truth in healthcare. It's the truth in keeping yourself accountable on a day-to-day basis to be the best version of yourself. My message to everyone is go get your spine checked. If you find at that point that the chiropractor isn't right for you, then at least you know what's going on with your health. Now, what I can tell you is through the people that I've helped get into chiropractic care, I've seen so many lives change. I've seen so many people that one time all they knew was pain, now what they know is a better lifestyle. From people that all they knew was, I'm going to take these pills for my symptoms. Now they know that chiropractors help with the cause. Now they know that what they thought was the truth, now they know that chiropractic is the truth. A healthier spine equals a healthier you. There's no two ways about it. Disease and dysfunction comes from the spine, And I've seen so many people that have gotten under chiropractic care start living better.
Thank you for participating.
Okay.
And thank you for coming in and taking care of yourself.
I'm the one that should be thanking you because I'm the one that benefited. So I appreciate what you've done for me, you and your wife both. It's really helped me, and I can tell a great improvement. So.
Yeah. How do you feel now?
I feel good. I feel I can get around, and so that makes me feel better about trying to do things and stuff like that. I just couldn't do before. And
so you can get out to your barn now?
Oh yeah, I get out there and get on my tractor and go to the hay field. I cut 2 fields of hay, let's see, this week, which has got wet. But, yeah, I do about what I want to do now. So,
can you briefly compare your quality of life before the treatment and now?
Before I had it, I couldn't hardly walk any distance and stuff. I had to just sort of keep myself close to the house unless I was riding something. I couldn't walk to the barn and back. Everything I did had to be done close to where, get to the house. So unless I was having some wheel, now don't worry. I'm not concerned about it. I don't worry about it now. So I walk around the track or something like that. My granddaughter, I can do that and stuff. So it's just a whole lot of difference in what it was.
Has your perception of chiropractic changed at all? If so, how?
It has, because prior to I never have been to a doctor a whole lot, and so yeah, it's changed a whole lot, in my opinion, because you help people and stuff like me, so it makes a big difference.
Is chiropractic safe?
Yes, to me it's very safe, and that's a big issue for people, because some people have had bad experiences and stuff with it. But yeah, to me, I got no problem. And especially when they can do that, get rid of them sinuses like that. That's a neat trick.
This man's been labeled with a spondylolisthesis and degenerative disc disease. These are permanent conditions. So how is he going to overcome it? It's simple, but it's not easy. You find the subluxation, you find where the stress is in the spine, and you remove that stress. And his body is going to heal itself. In order to be able to do these things, we have to have a spine that's free of interference. And his body heals itself when it's free of that interference. When we as a culture or a society start asking the question, how can my body perform at a higher level? Preemptively, ahead of time, before you're in that crisis, the world is going to be a better place. So ask yourself, how can I perform better? How can I enhance the quality of my life? And one of the bases of a healthy life is a healthy functioning spine and nervous system. If you have one final message you'd like the world to know about chiropractors and the care they give, what would that be?
Try it and see. I mean, that's the only way you're going to find out is try it and see what kind of success you have. And don't, give it a change. I'd recommend you. Okay? I would recommend you to anyone because you really helped me.
So after treatment, I feel amazing. A couple of things have changed. I feel, as I would describe it, consistently good. So there's not the energy levels like up and down, and even like as far as like my immune system goes, like I just feel consistently good. So my quality of life before versus now is before I was in a lot of pain. Like my back actually bothered me consistently on an ongoing basis. So I would get shooting pains in my legs, or even doing activities would be challenging. So now I wake up, I feel great, it's kind of I don't feel any of that anymore. And the other thing that's different is I'm running, I'm doing the gross grind, and I'm sleeping awesome at night. So my perception of chiropractor has changed significantly. Before, I have a scoliosis in my back, so before I would have my back go out, and then I'd need to go see a chiropractor. And then maybe I'd go consistently, like once a month for a while, and then drop off for a long period of time, have my back hurt, and go see them again. Now my perception of chiropractor is that it's part of my ongoing wellness plan. So I think the difference for the community, if everyone was under chiropractic care, is that there would be the result that I have, consistent, ongoing health. I recently came back from a business trip, and instead of going to see a physician, I went to see my chiropractor. So that ongoing health that I benefited from, the community would benefit from. I would unequivocally recommend chiropractic treatment for my friends and family, and in fact, my husband gets treated, and so do my kids. So my final message about chiropractic treatment is that it is not acute and something that you need when you're in discomfort. It's something that you need to have in your daily wellness practice.
Totally not what you thought before.
Totally not what I thought before.
So since you've been under Dr. Clint's care, how do you feel now?
As compared to when I started?
Yes, ma'am.
I've done a 180 on it. I'm able to move. I'm able to move my neck. I'm able to walk. I'm able to get up in the morning, and after some exercise that he's given me, I'm free of pain. So this is huge. Big changes in my life. Before, I was able to walk maybe 2 blocks, I guess, and that was about it. I had a lot of back pain, and now I walk a mile. And this is really nice. My husband and I are really enjoying our walks again. I'm hoping to even make it stronger and better as more time goes by.
Has your perception of chiropractic care changed since you've been under Dr. Clint's care?
Yes, I would think so. I was pretty skeptical of chiropractors for many, many years for reasons I won't even go into. But Dr. Dickinson has really helped me so very much. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to work with my issues. He never, ever hurts me, always helps me. And when I walk out of here, I'm always feeling better than when I walked in. Chiropractic care is a safe way to go. I don't know what other avenue is safer. The normal, I guess, path to the perceived health of doctor care, it isn't care at all. It's disease and how they manage pain. With chiropractic care, the Dr. D, it isn't managing pain at all. He's getting to the bottom of things and changing things on the fundamental level so that the pain itself is mitigated.
What would this community be like if everybody was under chiropractic care?
Really healthy. They'd be really healthy. There'd be a lot of people walking out there. Not just 1 mile or 2 miles, but hiking and biking and going and feeling really good. A lot of smiles would be going on. Yeah, good world.
If you have one final message you would like to share with the world about chiropractic care, what would it be?
Get there now. Don't wait. Yeah, if you're in pain, if you're uncomfortable, if you've had a lot of surgeries, if you've had a lot of negative experiences with the medical profession, you need to get to a chiropractor now. You need to get some help now, because that's the only path that's open to you that will really work.
Oh man, so Mary's made phenomenal progress, and I think the biggest thing is, and I think Dr. Umber taught me this, is the biggest thing I always give patients is hope. Never, ever, ever take away a patient's hope. You know, the hope that they can play with their kids again, the hope that they can do what they want. And I think that's the greatest thing we gave Mary is hope, because she is seeing that she's doing things again. So to take a person that before they came into the office was talking about, I'm for sure of chiropractic, Obviously a very medical patient. She had 2 cervical spine fusions. She's got 2 bilateral hip replacements. She had a lumbar surgery. She had, I believe, a foot surgery as well. So, very medically minded patient, and really was at the end of her rope because they couldn't offer anything else. They had done what they do, and her symptoms weren't changing. So, I think everybody wants to be able to give something to their fellow man. I was taught there's no greater good than to be able to truly serve your fellow man. And then to hear that here I am with my 2 hands, and I can adjust. Just to know that physically I don't need anything else besides me, the knowledge I've been gifted with, and some honestly raw talent that is not me, to help someone on a whole nother level. You can talk about removing lower back pain, you can talk about headaches, but now let's talk about difficult stuff like asthma, seizures. Let's talk about other, true ailments to someone's life that, hugely impact on how a person lives day to day. That's unreal. There's just nothing greater in life than to be able to do that, to provide that service to a patient. It's just awesome. And it's amazing when you see someone, their kid, like I get a kid that if he gets subluxated at C1, he just violently starts throwing up. Literally the mom will call me as he's throwing up in the car to hear. And the kid knows, the mom knows, and I know, as soon as we adjust his atlas, it stops. And there's no other profession in the world that even has a hope or a prayer of doing that. They've tried it, they've tried the ER. And there's just so much beautiful stuff in the fact that I can actually do that.
We don't know until we check. And you don't want to guess with your health. Your health is too important to be guessing. You need to know. And there's nothing more important than making sure your spine's functioning, because there's not one organ in the body that's not influenced by the nervous system through the spine. There's not one function that you do that's not governed by the spine. So if you haven't had your spine checked by a chiropractor, go. Make sure that you're functioning the way you're designed to function.
Too many babies are born in America with a credit card in their mouth. In America, you're either a crybaby or you're a fighter. And in chiropractic, we're fighters. And that's just how we're going to win this game. We're just going to let the people know the truth. And truth transcends an age. And that's why we're still alive and doing great.
Chiropractic's hope. It's chiropractic's having faith in your potential and removing things or adding things that you need to be complete. And your body's wired to be healthy. It's not normal to be sick, and most people think that you just get cancer or you just get heart disease, or it's bad luck, or it was germs, or it's genetics. That's all. It's not true. Maybe for 3% of the population, some of that might be true, but the rest of it's all because we're living incongruent to genetics.
Don't let your kids and your grandchildren start chiropractic as late as you did. Sometimes people come into me or any other chiropractor and somebody's had arthritis for 40 years and they get 4 or 5 adjustments and they say, it doesn't feel any better yet. What the hell do you expect? The only thing we have to work with is this rotten mess that you bring in with you that you call your body. What I said is, why don't you get in the car and go home and bring in your grandchildren? So 40 years later, they're not in the same rotten mess looking for a miracle.
We are the first generation in history that is getting the advance notice that our parents and grandparents never received, that whether we like it or not, our longevity potential is much greater than we ever thought. If we want to get there in style with health and vitality, rather than deteriorate, like so many of the beautiful people we love have done, then the health of our spine and nervous system and chiropractic care should be a part of our health care and our lifestyle, beginning at birth and through every phase of life.
You have the power within you. You got to give yourself permission to be the most powerful person you can be, the most productive person you can be, the most inspired person you can be. Every person has something that they want to do that's amazing to bring to the world, something to contribute to the world, something meaningful, something inspiring. If you don't take care of your health, you won't live that to the fullest potential. Chiropractic can help you live your life to the fullest. So nobody's going to get up in the morning and dedicate their life to your wellness. It's up to you. With you and the chiropractor, you can maximize your well-being, your wellness, your productivity, and your life.
So, yeah, that's a whole other avenue. I've always said this. I mean, my dream, not that I need anything else on my plate, is to do a movie, but do it from a historical perspective on just the whole evolution of the chiropractic profession from the beginning, you know, D.D. Palmer. I think it would be an amazing, amazing American story of just the second largest healing profession in the world, and this is how it evolved. This is showing people, you know, going to jail, show the strife within the profession. All that stuff would be a great, I think it'd be a great movie.
That's what we're doing.
Okay, well, good.
So the big idea is this. I get you healthy through the film. You tell your significant other about the benefits of chiropractic. We get them healthy. That significant other tells their coworker or their neighbor or their family members or whoever it might be, the person in line at the grocery store, about chiropractic and how it's helped them and how it's changed their life. So the big idea goes on. So now we start getting a group of people healthy with chiropractic care. And the next thing you know, we start getting a healthy workplace. We start getting an unsubluxated neighborhood. We start getting a healthy, unsubluxated city. We start getting an unsubluxated community. Wherever that you are and chiropractic has touched you, we want to be the servants for that community's health care. Trust your chiropractor for your health. Go to them first. Let them give you the guidance for your health care needs. So the big idea continues. We start getting the healthy community, the healthy city. Next thing you know, we're going to get a healthy state. How many states are there? There's 50 of them. Let's get each state unsubluxated. Let's get each state healthy. How about that? How about that for a big idea? And heck, imagine this. What if we were able to revamp the whole healthcare of this nation and get an unsubluxated United States of America and a healthy America? And then how about this? How about everyone get checked by a chiropractor? And then we'd have an unsubluxated planet Earth. I will tell you this. We spend so much per year on healthcare. But you tell me this, why are we still sick? Thank you for taking the time to watch our documentary. Now that you understand the great health benefits associated with chiropractic, I urge you to find a chiropractor in your area to take care of you and your family.